I am not interested in being a judge of the Supreme Court, and I have reasons for it.
The former Solicitor General Gopal Subramaniam withdraws his candidature for appointment as Supreme Court judge, says the government is apprehensive he won't toe their line. Good evening. In fact, there are strong words for not just the government but the judiciary as well in that special interview. Good evening. You're with News 360. I'm Anubha Bhosle.
Good evening. I'm Karma Paljar. Also in the headlines, the second train accident under this government's rule. In fact, 2 train accidents in Bihar today. The railway minister rushes to Chhapra where 4 people are killed as the Delhi-Dibrugarh Rajdhani derails. In Motihari, a goods train derails. A possible Naxal involvement is suspected.
Students continue to be in the lurch over the FYUP row. The Delhi High Court will now hear a petition against the UGC directive on 4-year courses next week. Pro-Vice Chancellor professors are now trying to work out a compromise formula.
The Maharashtra government clears 16% quota for Marathas and 5% for Muslims. The Congress NCP hope this will check the Sena BJP surge.
This is certainly the Prime Minister's austerity diktat. Ministers will now have to take the Prime Minister office permission before making purchases worth more than 1 lakh rupees.
And the Union Cabinet defers decision on gas pricing by 3 months. Government says further consultations needed with stakeholders.
And there's some relief for consumers. The government extends the excise duty cut announced in the interim budget till the end of this year. Cars and consumer durables won't cost more.
2 Indian nurses evacuated from conflict zone in Iraq. 17 Indians moved out of the country. MEA says the abducted citizens are safe.
And there's good and bad news for Uruguay. FIFA begins disciplinary proceedings against the star Luis Suarez after he's caught on camera biting the Italian defender during last night's match. The team, though, enters the round of 16. Yes, this certainly is the big piece of breaking news coming in right on top of News 360. We are learning that the UGC has told the Delhi University that it can start admission by tomorrow morning and perhaps should do so. The UGC's directive to Delhi University coming is specifying that the admissions will be taking place under 3 years and not that very controversial 4-year program. Meenakshi Upriti is, or in fact will be joining us in just a short while from now. Remember, this UGC Delhi University row really has broken up in the face with many of those students in the lurch. There are now, in a sense, 2 clear groups, one pro-FYUP and the others anti. But in a sense, the people who've been caught in lurch are the students of the Delhi University who were hoping to get admission into colleges of the Delhi University. Many have called the FYUP course illegal. Sahil's joining us on the phone line for a quick update. Sahil, give us the details. This basically means the UGC telling DU, go ahead with your admissions, but these are admissions under the old formula.
Absolutely, Anubha. UGC is just reiterating its old stand. They are saying that the admission process will have to start by tomorrow morning and it will have to be done under the 3-year program and not the 4-year program. But this is just the UGC stand. This is what the UGC is telling the Delhi University. We haven't heard from the Delhi University yet. Will they be actually starting the process? Because it's a deadlock, remember. So the UGC is just directing the Delhi University. Well, will the Delhi University obey the order? That's something to watch out for, Anubha.
Sahil, considering the fact that a majority number of colleges, as far as the Delhi University, are really in a sense waiting for this entire row to be settled. We also now know that the Delhi High Court is willing to hear a petition sometime next week. Looking at this possibility and looking at the UGC now coming under the frame once again, putting out another directive, you are basically saying that the row still very much remains.
Absolutely, Anubha. In fact, both the bodies have been throwing the rule books at each other. While UGC has been talking about its supremacy, the Delhi University has been talking about its autonomy. And in this deadlock, as you rightly said, it's the students who are facing the brunt. And and they continue to face it because there is no clarity whether the process will actually begin. In fact, hearing this news, maybe a lot of students will actually turn up at the Delhi University, but it remains to be seen whether their admission process will actually be accepted by the university or not, because as of now, as of 8:03 p.m. on Wednesday evening, we haven't heard from the Delhi University on this.
Right, but as far as the other students who are already doing the course is concerned, FIPU, what happens to them?
So people who have enrolled for the 4-year program are basically the ones who are really under tension, because for them it's about converting their course from a 4-year program to a 3-year program, and the batch that is facing the maximum brunt is the one that has enrolled for the BTech program, because when the BTech program gets reduced from the 4-year to 3-year program, that effectively means that the authenticity of the degree BTech, which involves a lot of technicalities, goes away. So it's these groups which are again going through a period of uncertainty, and again it's something which will be decided by the Delhi University, and Delhi University has actually not come out and made the situation clear. It's just the UGC which has now written to the Delhi University, and as I said, as of now we haven't heard from the Delhi University. The situation from their side still remains unclear.
Okay, so fair to say that stalemate still continues, but one would have to see why the UGC needs to send a directive at this point in time, considering views on this particular course have already been so polarized. And yes, those anxious moments still continue for students. Remember, this is a university that attracts talent in a sense from all across the country. We'll have a special report on that in just a bit.
That's right. Let's focus on the other top headline on News 360, the grim news that came in early this morning. 2 train derailments in Bihar. The first in Chhapra, where the Delhi-Dibrugarh Rajdhani Express derailed in Gopalganj, killing 4 passengers.
Well, and the second one, 60 kilometers away at Motihari, where a goods train derailed, a Naxal attack, a possible sabotage are all being looked at. The local intelligence bureau had sent an alert of possible violence during a bandh called by the Naxals.
हम लोग जब सो रहे थे तो अचानक झटका सा लगा काफ़ी तेज, तो हम लोग जगे। उसमें से काफ़ी पैसेंजर भी बाहर निकले तो भगदड़ सी मचने लगी।
Passengers recount shock and horror of what happened on the Delhi-Dibrugarh Rajdhani Express. 12 coaches derailed in Chhapra in Bihar, killing 4 passengers. In a matter of hours, another accident was reported 60 kilometers away in East Champaran, where 18 wagons of goods train derailed. The Railway Ministry, while ordering inquiry, prima facie called it a case of sabotage, while the Union Home Ministry, that sought a report from Bihar State Police, ruled out a sabotage angle.
We don't have much news about the cause of accident. Of course, there was a bandh call given by Maoists.
There is a clear mismatch between the magnitude of the derailment these coaches suffered and the extent of collateral damage they caused. Railway officials believe it is because of this new age LHB technology that not only minimize the collateral damage but also save precious human lives.
Even though the robust LHB coaches managed to limit the number of casualties, this incident comes within a month of the Gorakhdham Express derailment, where 28 people were killed and 100 were injured. Safety infrastructure is one of the major concerns of the Indian Railways. According to the data provided by Indian Railways to the Parliament in December last year, there were 1,42,311 vacancies across various railway zones. The tracks have serious welding failures that could lead to derailments. Coaches across railway zones need lots of repair. Replacement of old signal systems with new ones that reduce human error is still in progress. Government sources tell CNN-IBN that the Intelligence Bureau input in Bihar had sent an alert of possible violence during a bandh called by Naxals, especially in Gopalganj, Saran, Muzaffarpur and Siwan districts. The question now is, did the railway follow the standard operating procedures? With Prabhakar Kumar in Chhapra, in New Delhi, Maria Shakil.
And even as the results of an inquiry are awaited, the Bihar Chief Minister and ministers of the government at the centre are fighting over what led to the accident.
इंक्वायरी के बाद जो बातें सामने आएगी तभी कुछ कहा जा सकता है, लेकिन प्राइमा फेसी हम लोगों को लगता है कि ये उग्रवाद से संबंधित मामला नहीं है। कहीं न कहीं लग रहा है कि जो रेलवे हमारे हैं उनके तरफ से कोई चूक हुई है।
लालू जी, एक और घटना।
सन 77 से मैं वहाँ हूँ, मेरा क्षेत्र है छपरा। पूरा प्रिकॉशन लेना चाहिए था, प्रिकॉशन नहीं लिया, इसमें फेलियर हुआ इन लोगों का। रेल का और रेल यात्रियों का कोई कसूर नहीं होता। रेल में के साथ जो खिलवाड़ी लोग करते, जांच में आता है तो ये सब जांच के विषय है।
नहीं, ऐसे हादसे हो रहे हैं और पहले भी हुए हैं। चेक करते हैं तो देखते जाना चाहिए, और जिस जगह खासकर माओवादी का, कुछ आतंकवादियों का है, उस जगह ज्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए और देखकर करना चाहिए, क्योंकि इसको निगलेक्ट नहीं करना। अगर करते गए तो ऐसे हादसे होते जाएंगे।
Yes, he's our newsmaker here on CNN IBN. Former Solicitor General Gopal Subramaniam has withdrawn his candidature for the post of the Supreme Court judge. This after he has said the government was using official agencies to dig up dirt on him.
CNN IBN had accessed the letter written by Subramaniam to the Supreme Court. The former Solicitor General also speaking to us exclusively. In his letter to the Supreme Court, he says there is a malicious campaign now to discredit him. All charges against me are false. While speaking to us here on CNN IBN, explaining his withdrawal, Subramaniam said no judge ever wants to be an unwelcome visitor to the bench. He attacked the Modi government, saying the centre has a problem with his independence. Subramaniam also said the judiciary has been compromised and that it is a sad day for the institution.
I understand that you have written a letter to the Chief Justice of the country.
Yes.
Is it true that you're still in contention to be a Supreme Court judge, or have you made up your mind that you're not going to be a judge?
I am not interested in being a judge of the Supreme Court.
You're being absolutely clear on that.
Absolutely clear. And I have reasons for it. And I want to tell you that these are high constitutional offices where you have shared sense of honor and participation. No judge ever wants to be an unwelcome visitor to the bench.
Well, why are you unwelcome?
Well,
because
is it not?
I was told that it was the Supreme Court Collegium which had made an initial offer to you.
Well, they did.
Who was making you unwelcome then?
I have a feeling that two factors have worked against me. The real factors which have worked against me, not what was published in the media, which is completely gibberish. Two factors have worked against me. And I have to say this in fairness.
Sure.
One is, I'm known to be utterly independent. You can't expect me to change my nature now and walk around and going and saying pleasant things. And look, again, Bhupen, you must understand, when you become a judge, I'm not sworn to actually criticize the government. If the government is doing the right thing, I would say it's the right thing.
But to my mind,
but if it is doing the wrong thing, I must have liberty as a judge to say it is the wrong. I want to tell the executive that the standard belief that you must have judges who simply agree with you, go along with you, may not interrogate you, and you have a certain added level of comfort, is extraneous to parliamentary democracy.
Mr. Subramaniam,
now,
you've taken all these
point.
questions.
No, but the second point, I have a piece of advice also for the judiciary. I wish to say that the judiciary must understand that likes and dislikes are not ever meant to be accommodated in the radius of your thinking.
Right.
If you allow that to happen, forget Gopal Subramaniam, absolutely irrelevant. But if you allow an incursion like this to happen, I'm afraid that the institution will lower its own benchmarks.
All right.
And I don't want that ever to happen.
Okay.
And therefore, I know my advice is completely gratuitous.
Right.
I also wish to tell the Prime Minister, and I'm doing it quite openly, that he has an enormous public mandate. He has 262. He's a man with democratic pedigree in terms of support. But I am urging him to review and understand the position relating to what is the nature of the judicial process and how it is important that you must have interrogative, maybe somewhat disparate elements within the judiciary for the sake of diversity of opinion making.
And we'll have one more excerpt of that interview ahead on the show as we ask the former SG the question whether he feels the present government is targeting him.
Well, in fact, that's also the subject of our India at 9 talking point. Is there danger to the independence of judiciary? Remember the former Solicitor General having strong words, not just for the government, but the judiciary as well. India at 9 with Bhupendra Chaubey.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is continuing his austerity drive in the government.
Yes, according to sources, he has said that ministers should not be purchasing new cars, while for any purchase that is above 1 lakh rupees, a minister will now need the approval of the Prime Minister's office. Well, the Oil Ministry has now deferred the decision to revise gas prices by 3 months. Oil Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has said that the cabinet will be holding discussions on the gas pricing formula with all stakeholders before taking any decision. Pradhan also adding that the Oil Ministry is deciding on the mechanism of consultations. The cabinet had earlier proposed changes in the existing Rangarajan formula on gas pricing, which were cleared by the previous UPA government.
The gas pricing guideline was notified on 10 January 2014. In the interest of common man, we have deferred this issue for 3 months.
Some relief for consumers. The government has extended the excise duty cut announced in the interim budget till the end of this year. Cars and consumer durables won't cost more.
In February this year, excise duties with regard to several categories of automobile vehicles were reduced. The government has today decided to extend the facility of these reduced excise duties to all those sections. They will continue till 31st of December.
Okay, news now coming in of more governors stepping down. Nagaland Governor Ashwini Kumar has resigned from his post.
He is the third governor to resign in recent times after Uttar Pradesh Governor B.L. Joshi and Chhattisgarh Governor Shekhar Dutt resigned after speculations that the government was looking to remove all Congress-appointed governors. However, Karnataka Governor H.R. Bhardwaj and Assam Governor J.B. Patnaik dismissed such speculations.
Okay, we're taking a quick break here on News 360, but when we come back, a roundup of the big national and international stories.
Not suicide but murder, says Karnataka's Rural Development Minister after whistleblowers found dead. Details when we return. Yes, newsmaker on News 360, former Solicitor General Gopal Subramaniam says the government had no legal right to strike his name from the list suggested by the Supreme Court Collegium.
Well, that's right. In the second part of that interview to CNN IPN's Bhupendra Chaubey, Gopal Subramaniam speaking about the circumstances under which he took up the Sohrabuddin fake encounter case.
Are you then suggesting, sir, that it's the present government? Let's be clear.
Yes.
You were someone who was a amicus curiae for the Supreme Court in the Sohrabuddin Sheikh encounter case.
Now come to that. Now just let me explain that in a quick moment. I did not want to get entangled in any case. I was sitting in a courtroom waiting for my matter. 2 justices of the Supreme Court, they actually look at me and they say, Mr. Solicitor General, would you please offer your assistance in this matter? Now, I want you to know the facts. There was a petition by somebody complaining that his brother had been abducted and killed. But when I read the petition, there was a reference to the letter which he had written to the Chief Justice of India a year ago. So I went into the archives of the Supreme Court, traced the letter to the Chief Justice of India, the Chief Justice of India's direction to the Supreme Court PIL cell, to the Director General of Police Gujarat, and there was a reply which had some attachments. The attachments prima facie showed to me a case of murder. That's all that at that time I was able to discern.
Are you being targeted? Let me be direct with you. Are you being targeted by the present BJP government led by Mr. Modi because you're the amicus curiae in the Supreme Court in a case in which Mr. Modi's government, when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and his key aide Amit Shah were directly under the scanner? I am asking you, in the present day scenario,
yes,
you are outrightly denying all these allegations which have been leveled against you. You say the CBI has been your client, Intelligence Bureau report doesn't exist. My point to you then is...
But I must tell you, the Intelligence Bureau...
Who is then targeting you? Who's against you? You say you've been made to feel unwelcome.
Yes.
My point is the government making you feel unwelcome? Is the judiciary making you feel unwelcome?
Let's understand this. The Intelligence Bureau, it's going to surprise you, Bhupen, has consulted me for all these years, even during NDA 1. And you'll be surprised to know that the way in which I used to be treated with courtesy by the then Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Advani, the way in which my opinions on sensitive matters of national security were obtained, is indeed a tribute to me. But you have asked the right question. When I look at a mere, what you call, a process of elimination, there are many eminent lawyers in this government.
I don't remember any such incident where 4 names are given and only 1 name is stuck out, and there is a process of segregation which is being implemented then.
Well, the segregation, with great respect...
I mean, what does it say about the judiciary,
I'm sorry to tell you, Bhupen, segregation cannot happen by the executive. The executive does not have this authority. It can send a name for reconsideration, it's perfectly all right. But for them to choose what mangoes are okay and which one needs to be discarded from a basket is not exactly is permitted under the present constitutional and legal framework. But as I said, this is the first which has happened. I personally think that implicit in permitting the segregation, I feel that there has been a surrender of independence by the judiciary itself.
Surrender of independence by the judiciary, that's on Talking Point with Bhupen. Let's now move on to another of our top stories that's dominated the headlines. Remember, earlier in the bulletin we broke that news of the UGC sending that fresh directive to Delhi University asking them to start admissions. But the row is nowhere close to ending. In fact, students are in a lurch, especially those who have come from different parts of the country to take admission here.
Magna Mahapatra from Odisha scored over 90% in class 12 and was sure of securing a seat in Delhi University. She arrived in the national capital with her father the day the cutoff was supposed to be announced. But ever since the admission process was deferred, she is unsure of her future.
Specifically, right now we do not know when it will be through. Admission will be start. At least they should say admission will start after 15 days, 20 days, like that. They should give a clear-cut guideline.
I had also gotten Symbiosis and Christ University, but then Delhi University is definitely on a better position. They have a better status. So I wanted to be here, but then if it's taking so long, I don't know what to do. It's very confusing.
The Mahapatras plan to wait in Delhi till there is some clarity on the 4-year course. But not everyone can afford lodging in the capital. Many, like the Guptas from Jharkhand, are now planning to go back and never return for admissions.
हाँ बहुत कुछ आता है स्टूडेंट का लाइफ में मतलब नहीं है क्या ये सब तो मतलब अपनी जगह पे है पर स्टूडेंट का पढ़ाई तो अपनी जगह पे है ना वो लोग तो बार-बार दिल्ली में आएंगे.
Many parents like Rajinder Goel from Punjab and A.M. Kambli from Maharashtra, who had taken leaves from their offices to come to Delhi, are caught in a bind.
That will affect my career also because I will be not getting salary for those years for which leave is not sanctioned. दोबारा छुट्टी नहीं मिलेगी, private job कर रहे हैं हम.
Meanwhile, the matter reached the court with pro and anti-FYUP professors knocking on its doors. The court deciding to hear the matter on the 1st of July.
Since one of the judges in the bench cannot hear the matter, this particular matter, therefore the court said since the matter has to be heard by the division bench only and during vacation only this division bench will continue, therefore this matter cannot be heard during the division bench.
Even amidst uncertainty, the pro and anti 4-year course camps continue their protest.
We will only protest down here because it's the UGC only that promised us the 4-year degree, and now they are condensing it to 3 degrees, so it's a issue of problem.
We want a total rollback of FYUP, and I need not tell you the pros and cons because we have been shouting at our best.
Considered one of the most prestigious universities, Delhi University attracts students from all over the country. But with the stalemate over the FYUP continuing and no no communication coming from the VC's office. Parents coming from faraway lands only hope that with political protests like these continuing, the future of their children doesn't suffer. With Bureau Inputs in New Delhi, Meenakshi Upreti.
Disturbing news now coming in from Karnataka. Another whistleblower has died there under mysterious circumstances.
Well, the victim is a 24-year-old engineer who refused to fake Narega bills, found dead in the Chamarajanagar district. His family says that Panchayat officials had been threatening him for some time now. Deepa Balakrishnan has that story.
Scenes of anguish and anger in the Kagalwadi village in Chamarajanagar district. A family mourns the death of 24-year-old Suresh, an engineer who allegedly immolated himself on Monday. Suresh was allegedly harassed by Panchayat officials to produce fake bills for projects that never took off. His job on contract just 8 months back was the beginning of a promising career as he was recruited for the prestigious Manrega project. But it wasn't to be.
They used to threaten my son for fake bills. We had complained to the MP too. They had said they will do something, but this happened before they could. They used to torture him for bills all the time.
Suresh's family says the engineer had also asked the district officials for a transfer. Police have booked the Panchayat development official and his wife for abetment to suicide.
He hadn't specifically complained about these people. He applied for a transfer and we were trying to figure out how best to help him.
The issue was discussed in the state legislature as well.
Those who are humiliating to support these malpractices, if any even suicide takes place like this, they should be considered as murders.
Police say a special team has been formed to track down the 3 accused. But this is not just about one standalone case. It's a case that shows up serious flaws in implementing the NREGA project. Even the CAT has earlier said that thousands of crores have gone into paying off forged bills in the NREGA project in the last 5 years.
NREG of late, since last 10 months, all sorts of plugging is attended.
But clearly, none of that helped Suresh. With Deepa Balakrishnan in Bangalore, in New Delhi, this is Priya Singh.
We continue to track that story. News coming in from the government now. Home Minister Rajnath Singh has expressed concern over the large number of vacancies and delays in the impanelment of senior IPS officers at senior levels. Concerns were expressed during a review of the police division. Arunima has more.
Home Minister Rajnath Singh is upset over the way internal security and the police officers who are responsible for keeping India secure, they are being handled. Today, the police division made a presentation to the Union Home Minister, and it turned out that quite a number of vacancies, transfers and postings were kept in abeyance. No decision was taken on these files for months together. In Home Ministry itself, a crucial position like that of Special Secretary Internal Security has been lying vacant for close to 8 months, more than 8 months in fact. Additional secretary positions have been vacant for months together. Also a full batch of IPS officers who are due for promotion, their empanelment for a senior position has not happened. 930 IPS officer vacancies throughout the country is what is pending. Home Minister Rajnath Singh has now asked Union Home Secretary Anil Goswami, the DOPT and the other concerned to ensure that this entire mismanagement is addressed at the earliest, and the career of IPS or the Indian Police Service career is made lucrative for police officers, and also the entire division of internal security, the way police personnel are supposed to handle the security of India, that entire process should be made attractive as a career option.
Let's do a quick roundup of more national news, and this is certainly keeping an eye on the assembly polls. The Maharashtra government has cleared quotas for Marathas and Muslims. The government has granted 16% quota to Marathas while 5% to Muslims. Members of both communities can now enjoy reservations in government jobs and educational institutions in the state.
After recording Pre's statement, the Mumbai police have said that no charges have been added or dropped against Neswadia. Preet mentioned 2 new places at Wankhede Stadium where her alleged spat took place. Police said they will examine the CCTV footage again. equity claims Neswadia abused and threatened her during an IPL match on the 30th of May in the presence of his friends. She said an Australian related to a team member got up and asked Nes to keep quiet. She said 2 team members witnessed the incident.
This is the latest on the Salman Khan hit and run case. The original statements of 2 witnesses are untraceable. The Bombay High Court has been informed that the statements could be with a local court. The matter will now be heard next month. The actor's car ran over people sleeping on a pavement in Bandra in 2002. 1 person was killed.
With that, going to a short break ahead. 2 Indian nurses evacuated from conflict zone in Iraq.
17 Indians have been moved out of that country. We'll get you details when we come back.
Yes, latest in that conflict in Iraq. 17 Indians evacuated yesterday from the conflict zone have now been moved out of the country.
Well, 2 nurses have also been moved out of Iraq. However, the 46 nurses stranded in Tikrit continue to be trapped there. The city of Karbala has now become a safe zone. The Ministry of External Affairs here saying that it is facilitating and providing tickets for air travel for Indian citizens in that country. But Indians in captivity in Mosul continue to be in ISIS custody. The MEA also adding that they remain unharmed and Indian authorities will continue to work to secure their release.
2 nurses were in the conflict zone, and they were rescued and evacuated out of that conflict zone. So 2 who were in the zone of conflict, other than the group of 46, have been rescued and evacuated. They are now in Karbala, which is again a safe place. We will ensure that they return. We are providing and facilitating their tickets.
And as the Sunni militant group ISIS continues its onslaught in northern Iraq and inches closer to the capital of Baghdad, many fear soldiers in and around the capital are ill-prepared, with reports of many soldiers now deserting their unit. CNN's Nick Robertson brings us this report.
Amid claims and counterclaims of who controls what, the government insisting it has retrenched and refocused its forces to keep ISIS out of the capital. Inside Baghdad, we find thinly manned checkpoints, no heavy weapons in sight. A solitary armoured personnel carrier is all.
We're driving out to the west of Baghdad. The army's drawn a line in the sand there to stop the ISIS advance coming in from the west of the country. But it's far from clear that they can do it. The morale's been collapsing. There's been such a high desertion rate.
In better days, this main artery of the capital would have been clogged with traffic. We see only occasional army trucks on the road, no tanks or big guns. Driving on, we see a few roadside vendors, the shabby remnants of once thriving market stalls, struggling to find buyers on the fringes of what is becoming a wasteland.
This is as far as we can go. We can't go to the next checkpoint. We've got to turn around. It's too dangerous to go any further right now.
Iraqi soldiers in civilian clothes shown with their IDs. Fear on faces about what's coming, well founded. The next frames show the men being executed. Such images clearly having a chilling effect on Iraqi troops, and most soldiers on this highway would rather not drive on to find out what ISIS is really like. With such a thin military presence in their way, no telling where ISIS will stop. Nick Robertson, CNN, Baghdad, Iraq.
Indeed, a story the world continuing to watch. Now back home, the government getting ready for its maiden budget. The union budget will be tabled on the 10th of July, and ahead of that, on Budget Yatra, tonight we're travelling to Ahmedabad. Karma's finding out how the city has managed to make the BRT, the lifeline of its public transport system, such a huge success.
I'm standing in front of the BRTS, the bus corridor. It's been hugely successful here in Ahmedabad, with about 85 kilometers of the roads covered in this city alone. Of course, this is going to be expanded soon. Father, as far as this project is concerned, it is successful. Why do you think it's successful? Is it because Ahmedabad traffic density is not that much as of Delhi? Because in Delhi, it's failed.
No, I would correct you here, Karma, is BRTS has failed today in Delhi also and in Pune also. These were the first two BRTS that it made. But what Gujarat people did and the consultants for the BRTS, and kudos to Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, which spends months and years before, starting to construct the system, to create prototypes of this system in patches of even 1 kilometers. That's when the entire journey towards BRTS started. They surveyed the BRTS system all across the world, and they made sure that the loopholes that were there in Delhi, Pune, or places which were wherever this such transit system has been applied across the world is not there. There are a few reasons on why the actual BRTS has been successful. Like you said, the Ahmedabad is blessed with bigger roads from day one. The second is that there was an extensive survey which was done for the traffic density, and that's why it's been done in the phases manner.
Right.
And the most important thing is that it was created in a way that it started from the residential zone till the last level of the industrial zone. So today it has become the most convenient zone of transport and mode of transport for every single normal person to even the upper middle class of sections, which for whom today they find even taking cars difficult, like Delhi and Bombay. Today it's the same situation when you talk about the peak hours.
Well, Karma's obviously back from Ahmedabad. We'll take a quick break here on News 360.
Ahead, we'll talk about football and FIFA beginning disciplinary proceedings against its star Luis Suarez after he's caught on camera biting Italian defender Chiellini. We'll get you details of that match ahead. You with News 360 time now to talk about the big bite.
Yes, Minda Dorji is joining us with a really big bite of all that is football.
Thank you, Anubha and Karma. Now, Uruguay's Luis Suarez faces the prospect of being thrown out of the World Cup after he appeared to bite Italian defender Giorgio Chiellini during the closing stages of the match that resulted in Italy's exit from the World Cup. The incident occurred in the 79th minute as Suarez and Chiellini fought for the ball inside the Italian box. Suarez lunged at Chiellini in what seemed to be a headbutt initially, before TV replay showed him to be biting down on Chiellini's shoulders. Chiellini ran towards the referee, pulling back his shirt to show what still photographs later indicated as bite marks. FIFA has since started an investigation, and Suarez and the Uruguay FA have till later tonight to send their reply. Suarez faces the possibility of a lengthy 24-match ban.
I don't know what they have asked our coach about. The only thing I know is that those things happen on the pitch. I just collided with his shoulder. They are just casual incidents that happen during a soccer game.
When they talk about FIFA analyzing the play and may have a resolution by tomorrow, what do you think?
I just found out about this right now. I didn't know anything. If we are going to analyze every collision in a soccer game, that will be complicated.
Now, the defender in question, Giorgio Chiellini, has slammed Suarez's actions. He said, and I quote, "Suarez is sneak and he gets away with it because FIFA want their star players to play in the World Cup. I'd love to see if they have the courage to use video evidence against him." The referee saw the bite mark too, but did nothing about it. FIFA has, of course, also reacted. Jim Boyce, their vice president, has said there is no doubt Luis Suarez is a fantastic footballer, but once again his actions have left him open to severe criticism. FIFA must investigate the incident seriously and take whatever disciplinary action is deemed necessary. But now quickly moving on to tonight's matches, and Argentina will have their sights set on topping their group as they take on African champions Nigeria at Porto Alegre tonight. Having already made it to the round of 16 stage, the Albiceleste will be looking to settle the quest for the top spot as they take on the Super Eagles, needing only a draw to do so. However, their form hasn't been convincing even for their staunchest supporters, and it's been the genius of Lionel Messi that has twice done the trick for Alejandro Sabella's men. Nigeria, on the other hand, will, with 4 points, need just a draw to qualify, but a loss could spell trouble for them. Now, the second 9:30 p.m. match tonight, also from Group F, of course, comes to us from Arena Fonte Nova in Salvador. Carlos Queiroz and his defiant Iran side take on Bosnia and Herzegovina. As I mentioned earlier, Bosnia are already out of the tournament, of course, in their debut here. Queiroz, on the other hand, will need a scoring result from this one to stand a chance of advancing. Okay, quickly before we wrap up the segment, here's a walk down memory lane. Another look at some of Suarez's past bites. Repeat offender he is.
Can't stop punning on that one. We'll wrap it up here on News 360.
Thanks for watching.